Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, reviewing something else on Disney Plus, and that being Zootopia Plus. Yes! I'm really excited for this one, because Zootopia Plus, it's good! I really enjoyed it, and, you know, since I love the movie Zootopia, and who doesn't? Because Zootopia, just a great Disney animated feature, and, you know, because, you know, everybody, like, ever since the movie came out, like, everybody, including myself, were asking for more Zootopia, and, hey, well, we've got Zootopia Plus, so there we go. So basically, like, Zootopia Plus, gosh, I remember back when this was announced, and, I was looking forward to it, and, you know, it was kind of hard to tell, like, before it came out, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought this. Maybe Zootopia Plus would probably take place after the events of the movie, like, you know, you'd have Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps, you know, popping up here and there, you know, stuff like that. It was kind of hard to tell what it would be like before it came out. But once it finally came out and we watched the episodes, we realized that, oh, this takes place during the events of the movie. Literally, smack down during the movie. And, yeah, pretty amazing. And that's another thing, because I hope I'm not the only one who was getting that feeling where it's like, okay, where are these episodes taking place? Like, well, it was obvious, like, the first episode, you know, dive right into the episodes. Well, actually, first off, wait a minute, the description / story of the show, yeah. A return to the metropolis of mammals to discover some intriguing characters, yeah, including Frou Frou, the Arctic Shrew, Officer Clawhauser, how do you pronounce his name? I'm really sorry. You know, the greedy cheetah, greedy. No, he's a lovable cheetah, you know. I don't recall him being greedy. And Flash, the surprising sloth. Surprising, okay. Anyways, so, as I was saying, like, you know, with the episodes, like, you wonder, like, where are these episodes taking place, as I just said, you know? And the first one, it was, okay, like, you immediately know that in episode 1, Hop on Board, because Hop, you know, with 2 P's, story, Stu and Bonnie, Judy's parents, embark on a rescue mission when the baby hitches a ride atop the train to Zootopia. Yeah, because basically one of Judy's sisters, siblings, that is, named Molly? Yeah, Molly. Like, Molly just, like, flat out follows Judy. And, you know, Judy! Like the way she talked, you know, it was kind of funny. You know, Molly was cute, so... Molly hitches a ride on the train to Zootopia, and thus, you know, Stu and Bonnie, they get in the truck and they, you know, chase after the train. And, you know, and the fact that this takes place during when, you know, Judy, she's got her earbuds in and listening to Try Everything, oh, yeah. Good song, and, we do hear a little bit of it, but through the earbuds, that's pretty funny. So... And, like, we get some cameos like that, like those naked animals, you know, and that guy, and when the train going through, like, say, the desert section and the snowy section, and in the snowy section, we see Nick and What's-Him-Face, like, they're doing the popsicles. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And Stu hanging on to the train. It's a lot of funny stuff, definitely, and a little, like, love between Stu and Bonnie, you know, cute and so on. And, yeah, even Molly getting into the train and, you know, still trying to get to her big sis. And finally, when the train pulls into the station, yeah, it gets kind of almost intense when it's like she's almost about to get hit by an incoming train. But of course, the dad rescues her, and it's like, oh no, like the train's gonna not only hit her, but the dad. But of course, Bonnie comes in and saves both of them. So, and little, like both Bonnie and Stu, little kiss, like pretty funny. And Molly gets on another train, and thus they have to go after her again. Oh, that was pretty funny. So that episode, like, it takes place, as I said, like, during when Judy is on her way to Zootopia, and with the Try Everything song playing. And then episode 2, The Real Rodents, with little Rodentia. Yeah, that's right. This one, I know, like, when you watch this, you know how this episode, like, the style of this episode. It's like those reality shows, and, like, people, like, sitting down and talking sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so this was pretty funny, too. So this centers on Frou Frou, the daughter of Mr. Big, the Godfather parodied, Don Corleone, you know, and in which, you know, he has an episode a little bit later, which we'll get to when we get to it, you know. So, episode 2, yeah, The Real Rodents of Little Rodentia, story, bride-to-be Frou Frou battles her cousin turned shrew of honor. I almost said horror. Getting mixed up. Okay, shrew of honor, her cousin, named True True, so it's, instead of an F, it's a T. So, okay, so True True for the spotlight, you know. Hilarious stuff, definitely. And we get more of Frou Frou, because Frou Frou's a funny character. And even get, like, say, some scenes with the polar bears. We all know, because the polar bears, they're with, you know, they're with them and, you know, helping them and serving them. So, pretty funny. And, you know, because things not going so well with Frou Frou and her cousin, True True. Even, like, say, a big fight when True True out of nowhere, like, insults her cousin's hair. You know, you will not say anything about my hair, and they get into a brawl. And that's when, afterwards, Frou Frou and the rest of her friends, you know, her friends are pretty funny. And I think one of them has, like, what? Like, something on, like, a, necklace. No, what are those called? Like, around her ankle. Like, what for? I can't remember. Not to mention, one of her friends was married, I think, 21 times? I think? Yeah, so there's that. So they all go shopping and finding, like something for Frou Frou's wedding, and that's where, when they get out of the shop, that's where, you know, that takes place during when, you know, Judy is after Duke Weaselton, and with the giant donut almost hitting Frou Frou, and Judy saving Frou Frou, and, you know, love your hair. Well, thank you. And that's when it dawns on Frou Frou about, you know, about her hair and so on, and, you know, she confronts and apologizes to True True. And even True True, like, even had her cousin's mother's wedding dress. So that was very sweet of her. Even the polar bears get a little emotional, too. And, of course, you know, True True being at her cousin's wedding, and flowers that Frou Frou had, and, you know, as any wedding, like, toss them. And I knew what they were. And I'm sure to anybody, like, who had watched that episode, they were just like, oh my god. It's the same flowers that caused animals to go savage. And I was just like, oh no. Like, yeah. That is, I'm sure everybody who have seen the movie Zootopia and have now watched this, like, they know, and they're just like, oh dear god, just, yeah, it's, and her cousin goes savage. No, not them. But, of course, we all know what happens at the end of the movie Zootopia, so, you know, everything's good. Okay, and so, episode 3, Duke the Musical. Now, this one, I don't know, I mean, I thought it was fine. My mom and I, we watched it. I mean, you know, my mom had gotten to watch the show, and this episode of Duke the Musical, she didn't really like, and I understand, and I think maybe that's the purpose of this episode, and with Duke Weaselton, because this episode, yeah, episode 3, Duke the Musical, it centers on Duke Weaselton, and this episode takes place after Duke, you know, like, got out, and this was after the whole donut thing, and this being reported on the news, Duke is embarrassed, and, you know, okay, and the story says, criminal weasel Duke ponders where he went wrong in a musical aptly staged, if I said that word right, in his own mind. Yeah, and it's a, you know, it's a not a long song, but, you know, these episodes are usually up to, like, 10 or 11 minutes. So, you know, I guess you could say, like, a kind of a 10-minute musical number or something like that of, you know, maybe he could start over or something like that, and, like, with money or whatever. And there's a hilarious moment where an elderly goat, like, well, Duke was almost about to do the right thing to give the elderly goat's wallet back, and just about to do so, like, it was about to happen, but then out of nowhere, the elderly goat gets hit by a truck, and the truck had, you know, a cargo of bags of money, and, like, Duke, it gets back into him, he just steals a bag of money, so, you know, there was that. So, Duke Weaselton, like, a very mischievous weasel, for sure, you know, but he's funny, so... And being voiced by Alan Tudyk, and not to mention that, well, Duke Weaselton being named after, you know, like, a character that kind of has the same name, but not the last name being called Weaselton, you know, from Frozen, so also voiced by Alan Tudyk. Anyways, so, now, this is the one that I mentioned earlier of Mr. Big, and this is his episode, episode 4, The Godfather of the Bride. Yeah, so this episode, this episode centers on Mr. Big, and we get to know his backstory, his origin story, and how he came to Zootopia. That's amazing. That's great. Okay, I'll read the story. Mr. Big gives a father of the bride speech, going back in time to his days as a new immigrant, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, I was curious. I was like, oh my gosh, we all know that Mr. Big is a parody of Don Corleone, and there's Godfather references and so on with Mr. Big. You name it, even the music. You get it. The whole thing with Mr. Big and his family and so on. All Godfather parodied and of Godfather vibes, you name it. The lighting and so on. I'm telling you. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, what's Mr. Big's backstory gonna be like? Is it gonna be something similar to Don Corleone? Because Don Corleone's childhood was dramatizing. Well, I don't know, do I want to use the word dramatizing? I don't know, but you know, he like in Godfather Part 2, because Don Corleone, he lost his mother. Her mother was murdered, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, are they gonna do something like this? Like, they probably wouldn't want to go that far, but, you know, but... Nope, they didn't, no, they didn't do anything like that. Even though this is a Godfather parodied and so on, they still didn't do anything like Don Corleone's. You get my point. So, this episode was very touching because, you know, Mr. Big talking about his childhood and how him and his Nana, yeah, they arrive at Zootopia, and at first, like back then in Zootopia, it had nothing like what Zootopia has, like what we see in the movie, like a city section for little rodents, you know what I'm saying? There was none of that from the beginning, and, you know, Mr. Big and, you know, his grandmama, I think that's it, grandmama, They, because when they arrive at Zootopia, because they see that, like, small, like, animals, rodents, how their homes are and where they're staying, not so good. Like, one is staying on a traffic light. Jeez. And, even, like, say they start their own business, and even say they make friends with polar bears, and even the polar bears help them out. That's where it began, but they also, like, come face to face with gangsters, you know, the main gangster, the leader, being a rhinoceros, and, you know, and gosh, like, the rhinoceros gangster, like, was about to, like, attack a kid, which was a polar bear. Jeez. And, of course, Mr. Big, he stands up to the gangster rhino, and that's where even at one point, the gangster rhino gets iced, and that's where the whole ice him, that's where it was born. Amazing. And, of course, you know, later on, that's when Mr. Big, he was responsible for opening a new city section in Zootopia for small rodents and animals and so on. Yeah, so that was really cool, and his grandmama proud of him, and yeah. And even, like, well, excuse me, what Mr. Big said to his now son-in-law, you know, you treat her well, or, you know, you'll be iced, or however he said it. Not to mention there was already a drunken, like, rodent that was already, like, well, he was drunk, and, like, he had to be iced, you know, because he wouldn't shut up, so, before Mr. Big's speech. But overall, yeah, episode 4 was a really good episode, definitely. And then, the last 2 episodes, the second to last episode, So You Think You Can Prance, and this one, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, where does this one take place? And I'm pretty sure, okay, and I forgot to mention, episode 4, that might have taken place. Episode 4, The Godfather of the Bride, that might have happened right after Mr. Big gave Nick and Judy the directions, I want to say. Most likely, yeah, because I think, obviously, Nick and Judy, they didn't stay for the whole wedding, so that's understandable. So, you know, they did stay for a little while, like, for cake and so on, but, you know, you get my point. But anyways, back to episode 5. So You Think You Can Prance, the story, like, the description. ZPD, dispatcher, Clawhauser, the cheetah character, you know what I'm talking about, pursues Chief Bogo to audition for So You Think You Can Prance, and which has to do with, you know, Gazelle. It's hilarious, you know, because, you know, Chief Bogo thinks this is an assignment, a mission, undercover assignment, etc. But, you know, of course, Clawhauser, I think I'm saying it right, Clawhauser, correct me if I'm wrong, Clawhauser, like, basically does tell the truth that, you know, he just wanted a backup dancer, you know, and it seems like at first Chief Bogo just isn't gonna do it. Even, like, say, even the whole setup of this audition, it's just like, say, America's Got Talent, that kind of stuff, with the buzzers and the judges, the audience. It's hilarious, definitely. Yeah, so as I said, at one point, Chief Bogo does leave, and, you know, Clawhauser just totally upset that, you know, everything's just going downhill. But then, of course, Chief Bogo, he does come back, you know, because he's like, you know, no recruit gets left behind or anything like that. You know, let's dance our pants off and does some abs. That's hilarious. And Gazelle just, you know, she enjoyed it, and it seems like, yeah, that seems like a happy ending for that episode, but it turns out, and I think it's the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, okay, so that's what happened. It was a dream! It was a dream that Clawhauser had. None of that really happened, but, you know, he does say that it was a good dream, so, okay, good for him. But that takes place right as, well, you know, Judy needed some backup because, you know, with the Panther and so on. And that's when, yeah, that one scene where Clawhauser comes into Chief Bogo's office and, you know, Chief Bogo has the same app, you know, you're a good dancer, Chief Bogo. That app with Gazelle, like, that was really funny. So, and you have the same app too? Oh, as Clawhauser says, hilarious. Anyways, so, and now the 6th and final episode, and I hope I got her name right too. Gazelle, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So, if I don't, then let me know in the comment section. So, you know. Anyways, so the 6th and final episode, Dinner Rush. This was a good one. Probably be my favorite. And, you know, the fact that it's the final episode, you know. Anyways, so Dinner Rush, the story. Super server Sam rushes to finish her shift ahead of a big concert when last-minute guests arrive. And who do you think the guests are? None other than the Sloths. Flash, 100-yard dash, as Nick calls him, and along with Flash, his girlfriend, Priscilla. And, of course, you know, as we all know, like, the voices of Flash and Priscilla, like, they were voiced by, Flash was voiced by Raymond S. Persay, if I'm saying his last name right, who, before this, he was the voice of Big Gene in the Wreck-It Ralph films. And Priscilla, Christian Bell, yep, a.k.a. the voice of Anna. So, yeah, so really, yeah, nice to, it's really cool. And, you know, of course, with the Sloths, you know, Flash and Priscilla, they have hilarious moments in this, and at the restaurant. And the waiter who was serving them, Sam, voiced by Charlotte Nicdeo, if I'm saying her last name right. Now she was good as Sam. I really liked Sam. Like, Sam was a pretty good character. Yeah, because she's just stuck at the restaurants, like, serving everybody, and not to mention, like, you know, when Flash and Priscilla come in, it's hilarious. And, you know, of course, they talk slow, and will order now. And yeah, and even at one point, like, you know, Flash making a joke, and of course with the it's hilarious. And, you know, Sam struggling with the customers and the chef, because, you know, be right with you and so on. And the thing is, like, oh, and here's another thing. I also have seen, like, people doing reaction videos to the Zootopia Plus series. Really enjoyed them. In fact, I don't know, some of them say, like, and me too, are the customers unaware that sloths are present, and they should know that because they talk slow and so on, you get the point. So, but I guess they don't care. I mean, who knows? But anyways, so some hilarious stuff, like Sam trying to move as fast as she can because she doesn't want to miss out on the concert of Gazelle, and you know, and of course things kind of do go wrong, you know, because of the bottle with the cord, you know, like Sam accidentally, you know, causes it to pop off, even when, like, Flash was going to do that. And also, like, you know, like, Flash was kind of whispering something to Sam, like, you know, so I guess Priscilla doesn't know. And even, like, say, there was a moment where, like, Flash did this to Sam, like, because, like, and when you, and I figured it out, of course, you know, why, and because, well, I'm not going to mention it just yet. But as I said, like, you know, when the cord, like, it, like, flies around and Sam catches it, that's when everybody just comes up to Sam and, you know, complains to her, even the chef. But that's when it all stops, and that's when Flash proposes to Priscilla. And it was funny at first, you know, shocking as well, because after, of course, he says, "Will you marry me? You know, like Priscilla, the first thing she says is, no. And I'm not kidding. When I watched this for the first time, I literally said, what? Like, I thought, like, I'm sure some of you, anybody who had watched this episode for the first time, I'm sure they kind of had that reaction too, right? Oh, you can even hear the customers, like, gasping or something like that. And even Flash, he thought so too, and he was like, oh. But that's when, maybe she didn't finish her sentence. I mean, you know, because, well, the sloths, they talk slow. So she was like, you know, she finished it with, way, yes. I liked how she said it. That was funny, you know. Yes. I tell you, the sloths, they are a hilarious part and one of the best moments from the Zootopia franchise. Definitely. So, of course, yeah, they're both engaged. Good for them. And, you know, Sam, like, you know, congratulating them in a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And, you know, and also, yeah, Flash and Priscilla mentioned to Sam that they were in a rush. They're seeing the same concert, like Sam, and, like, me too. She lifts her tickets up. And, just, you know, seeing the concert of Gazelle, yeah, Gazelle. So I had to pull it up just to make sure. So I'm good. So, and that's when that's when the, like, at the end of the episode, it takes place right before the movie Zootopia ends, where Flash in the car driving fast, and of course, you know, Judy and Nick catch up to the car, you know, having Flash pull over, and, you know, when Flash rolls the window down, and, like, Nick, you know, saying, Flash, 100-yard dash, and, of course, Flash saying, Nick. And, of course, we see Priscilla in the car with the tickets, and Sam, because she's just, you know, she's kind of scratched on the back of this, like, the back seats, and, like, I think I'll walk because of how fast Flash was going. Yeah, so Sam tagged along with them, and thus, we all know, during the end credits of Zootopia, they're all at the concert. So, what a way to end the first season, definitely. I really hope there's going to be more of this. Definitely. Come on, like, we need more of this in Zootopia. Definitely, I have no doubt. And what about you guys? Like, hey, what do you think of Zootopia Plus so far? And you want to see a season 2? I know I do, as I just said. Definitely, I'm giving this show a 10 out of 10, because this is amazing. You know, that's all I can say, really. And as I've talked about this, like, throughout this review, you know. But anyways, so, with that being said, you know, thank you very much for watching. Again, 10 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Zootopia Plus. More reviews coming your way. They're gonna be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. Take care, and peace out.